So as you lie down on your mat, you can extend your legs out in a shavasana position, which is essentially imagine you're on a beach towel and you are completely relaxed. It's helpful to sometimes shake out your legs and let them just flop open, just to release any little pockets of tension that we might be holding on to. And then you can place your hands by your side, comfortably on your little island, not too wide, not too close, and turn your palms to face up. And here's a trick. If you start to favor the thumb side of the hand down, you might feel a very subtle rotation of the shoulders. It can feel good. And we're going to take a few minutes to arrive. Just feeling the residue of what the week has brought you and check in with where you are. Perhaps the breath will start to naturally deepen as we create some space for this inquiry. And just start to notice the qualities of the different regions of the body, starting with the face. So you can allow your eyes to fall closed if that's comfortable. And then with eyes closed, drop your gaze down towards your collarbone. See if that releases any little pockets of tension across the eyes. And then you'll start to draw down the awareness into the mouth. And we'll invite a sense of spaciousness across the mouth for the tongue to be broad and lay flat. The teeth can be apart, the lips are gently together. And start to curl the outer corners of the mouth upward from the inside of the mouth. And see how that shifts the quality there. And then as you start to sip breath through the nose, just noting the temperature. And as you exhale, start to turn on it's called Ujjayi pranayama. It's essentially just a soft constriction in the back of the throat, and you're pressing air out through the nose. It almost sounds like a bicycle tire is hissing as you exhale. Good. And on the next inhalation, let's draw the knees into the chest and give ourselves a little hug. Maybe you can gently rock from side to side. Exhale, draw your chin into your chest, just coiling into a little ball. Either roll to one side, or if you want to try rocking, just rolling through the spine. We'll rock ourselves up to a seated position. And then from this cross-legged stance, we're going to come into a down dog. So there's a few different options here. Roll forward onto the hands or scoop your legs to one side, coming onto all fours. I have this, I should know, you know what I'm going to do? I have this habit of pointing this way, and I felt like I was missing it, but no, it's always good to break our patterns. So I'm going to practice what I preach and stay right here, even though it feels weird. So let's curl those toes under and start to pad the floor with the feet, just broadening across the foot. On an inhale, tuck your tail under, pull the belly up, round through the shoulders, press through the hands, tuck the chin. Then exhale, start to release your tail back, rolling through the spine, bring your gaze up, open the throat, and you can drop your gaze to the tip of the nose. Let's just repeat that 3 more times, just in our own breath. As we coil into a ball, you can play with dropping your gaze to your third eye, that space between the brows. And then as you release into your cow, the gaze can drop to the tip of the nose. So it's basically an opposition of the direction of the head. And feel free to break form here. You don't have to stick to any structured track. Just be intuitive, following this general pattern going through the spine. Try wagging your tail from side to side once or twice. And then coming back to a tabletop, let's start to press the hips over the heels and just walk the hands forward. Index fingers pointing straight forward, but give yourself a little extra space. Don't crowd your shoulders. So you're kind of right at the edge of your mat here. Exhale, start to lift the elbows, activate the muscles of the arms, draw the shoulder blades down the back. So this is pretty active here. On your next exhalation, lift your knees and we'll pause. Lengthen the armpits. So start to press into your palms as you lengthen the shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, reach the hips up and back and start to pedal the feet. This is more than likely your first down dog of the day. So check into how one leg might feel relative to the other. You can press the foot out to 45 degrees as you press into that right hip. Right toes pointing out, gazing under the right armpit, for instance. And then you can try that pattern on the other side, just allowing yourself to explore any congestion in the body. Now fold your chin into your chest, gaze up to your navel, say hello, good morning. And then exhale, we're gonna lift the heels, shifting forward into our first plank. So as we stack the shoulders over the wrists, gently lift the pelvis up a couple millimeters and then start to direct the buttock flush towards your heels. Reach the heels back, almost like your two oxen moving back, and then the crown is reaching forward. Now, as you press into your index finger, see if you can fill in the space between your shoulder blades. And then exhale, you can lower your knees, but just for stability, keep a lot of weight in your upper body. And then we'll slowly, 3, 2, heading towards the earth, and 1, uncurl the toes. Keeping the hands where they are, just release any tension. Inhale, lift and peel the shoulders off the mat. Starting to warm up the spinal muscles. Exhale, bend the knees. Yeah, and we're just gonna slowly move those from side to side. Just waking up the fascia here a little bit. And then turn your head from side to side. Yeah, and then we'll reset the feet down, toes curled under. Press into the palms, lift back up to all fours, and send the hips back and up, down dog. Inhale, heels lift up, gaze forward. Exhale, start to walk the feet towards the hands. And take your palms onto your shins. Inhale, halfway to lift. Exhale, forward fold. Let's really bend the knees and invite that belly flesh up and over the thighs. Tuck your chin. 2 more just like that. Inhale to send the femurs back. Help the skin to inner rotate. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Long spine. Exhale, forward fold. I'm going to bend the knees. Circle the arms all the way up. And exhale to Samasthiti. And let's flow. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, diving forward, hinging at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the right leg back. Step the left leg back. Moving through chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, curling the toes under, coming back into down dog. Let's bring the legs to the midline here. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Inhale to draw that right leg up. Exhale, stepping it forward, lowering the left knee down, coming into a low lunge. And we're going to close our stance just a wee bit and focus on really folding the tail under and then releasing it back, folding it under. And as the pubic bone drags up towards the frontal ribs, the low floating ribs. You'll start to maybe feel a little bit of extension through your left hip flexor. Now we're going to take that and hold that tuck as we roll through that front ankle. Just warming that up a bit. Now press into that front foot. Exhale, we're going to swing back into half Hanumanasana, half split. 2 more times. Let's float the arms up. Inhale. And breathing the arms up. Inhale. And then coming back, finding our tuck. Start to lift that back leg up. Extend the arms behind you into a runner's lunge. Good. We'll plant the hands at the top of the mat. Step back into plank. Moving through vinyasa. Inhale, peel the chest. Bend the knees. Just move and sway the head back and forth. Exhale, lower. Finding our way back to down dog. Big toes come together. Inhale, breathe the left leg up. And exhale, stepping it through, low lunge. Place your hands on top of the left thigh. And now we're going to back off the full range of motion so that we're more upright. Take a minute to just rotate at the pelvis. Notice where you start to feel sensation across the front hip. So maintaining that tuck here. Yes. Good. We'll start to roll through that front left ankle. Just keep that tuck. So you're feeling this gentle activation through the left quad, just to create some stability and some extension through that right hip flexor, but you're engaged in that range of motion. Beautiful. Good, now we're going to come forward to go back. Exhale, lengthen the belly up and over the left thigh. A little more sets of that. And exhale, think of the right kidney lengthening up and over that left thigh. Breathing our way up, exhaling our way back. And then coming back to our low lunge, staying at that activation. Then now we're going to start to hover the right knee up and off the mat. Now extend the legs into runner. So there's a long line, like a staff running through the crown of our heads, through the spine, down that back leg, out through the heel. Breathing here for 3. Don't feel like you need to be static. We're composed mostly of water. Let's tap into that fluidity. And then exhale, let's plant the hands down, stepping back into plank. Moving through our vinyasa. Rolling the toes back. And lift the hips up. Adho Mukha Svanasana. On an inhale, we'll shift forward. I'm going to plant the right knee down, coming into a bit of a side plank variation. So the right hand is underneath the right shoulder. Cut a parallel line with the back foot so that it's parallel with the short edge of your mat. And then float that arm top up and overhead, pivoting the palm to the wall behind you. As you press to the outer edge of the back foot, maybe start to float the bent knee up and off your mat. Extend. Bend. And extend. This one. Bend the knee, draw it up towards your armpit. Exhale, extend. And then reset the foot down. And then coming back to plank. Let's take the other side. So left knee down, Make a kickstand, a nice broad base. Recenter that left hand into the just underneath the left shoulder. Start to rotate the pelvis to the side. Cut a nice sharp line with the back foot. Breathe that arm up and over. And explore with the movement of that arm. See if you can feel the skin glide across the rib cage, especially as you ground through that back foot. It's like we're pulling a sheet nice and taut on a bed. Rotating the pelvis, or sorry, the palm towards the back wall. Maybe you play with the hips, just gently dragging the frontal hip bones up, tucking the buttocks towards that extended leg, the heel of the extended leg. Good. We're gonna hover the knee. Inhale, try to tuck that knee into your left armpit. Exhale, extend. Inhale to bend. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend, pull it up in it. Exhale, extend. And then very intentionally, let's see where we want to put that leg. Set it once, right where it came from, full expression. Then exhale, we'll reset the hands. Coming back into our planks, exhale all the way to the floor. Inhale, peel the chest up, bend the knees. We'll just swim the legs as we gently direct the head from side to side. Rolling the toes underneath, sending the hips all the way back. Lift into down dog. And on our next inhale, we'll shift forward into plank. Come all the way down to the floor. We're going to take a cactus with the hands. So they'll come out in front, but we want the elbows to be higher than the shoulders here. Good. Now we're going to start to roll onto our right sides, stacking one leg on top of the other. We're going to stay activated through the right palm. The left hand comes into a cobra position and just gently presses down for some support. Exhale to start to turn. Inhale to pause. Exhale to activate through that right palm. If you want to play with that extended or top leg, you can bend, place it behind you. If that is not good, then you can just leave it here and work at turning out at the hip. So pointing your toes up towards the sky. Next stage is to bend. Next stage is to touch. For that added feedback to help you draw the knee away from the floor, pulling the buttocks, the flesh of the buttocks down towards the feet. Stay engaged in that right arm. And exhale to slowly roll. Just take a minute with arms by your side. Let the blood flush back into that arm. Just clearing away the congestion. Notice if you feel any tingling or sensation and how one side might feel differently from the other. And then we'll let that go. You can place your chin or your lips to the mat. Place both hands back into your cactus pose. Walk the fingertips up a little bit so that the elbows are higher than the shoulders. Inhale, exhale to start to roll, stacking the right leg on top of the left. Use that right arm to help support you to not roll over. On your next exhalation, really ground through your left palm. Think of pressing your left armpit into the floor, just gently, no force. If you're looking for more, you can take that top leg up, point the toes towards the ceiling, bend the knee. And then the next stage is to touch the floor for some feedback. And then you can create the sense of traction, pulling the knee back as the buttock flesh points down. Stay connected to the armpit, reaching towards the mat. Soften. Soften, soften. Relax the shoulders down, away from the ears. Last breath. Breathe to initiate what comes next. Breathe to fuel the movement as you roll back down. Place the arms by your side and turn your gaze to the opposite direction. And then we'll gently place the hands underneath the shoulder heads. Exhale, coming up into cobra. Full cobra if you feel like that's what you're calling for. So again, buttocks pointing towards the heels. Drag your pubic bone up. Navel. Space between the pubic bone and the navel. Can we lengthen there? Put the elbows in. Roll the shoulders back. Exhale to slowly come down. Close curl under. Making our way back to down. Inhale, lift the heels, gaze forward. Exhale to press into the knees. Walk the feet to the top of the mat. Hands walk up to the shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, pressing into the feet and all the way up standing. Exhale to Samasthiti. So we're going to pick up that right foot. That's it. Interclasp your fingers underneath the right thigh. Inhale to get nice and long and tall through the standing leg. Exhale, we're going to start to extend the right leg forward. Roll the shoulders down the back. Now, as we gently press the right leg into the clasped hands, start to press the hands back into the leg for a little bit of leverage to help roll the shoulders back. And as you beam your heart towards the ceiling, start to then, the counter action is to pull the frontal hip bones up. Good, and then we're going to balance. Just lift the arms up. Always use a wall or something if you needed that added support. And your leg can be anywhere it needs to be. We'll start to draw that leg back, float into airplane. Virabhadrasana 3 variation. If you'd like to take your arms forward, you can try that. Wherever you feel that you got it, that is the invitation to take the next stage. Try to ungrip the toes. Now we'll take the fingertips down towards the floor. Bend that standing mid leg if you need to release any tension. Now, with square hips, start to lengthen that left hip joint. So just create some spaciousness in your left hip. Don't let it compress and sink. Pull up out of that leg. And then exhale, you're going to open the right hip. Just allow that to be free, and you can bend your knee. We'll create a few circles here. Stay really engaged in the standing leg. Try to ungrip the toes. All of us overachievers, those white knuckling toes, white knuckling our way through. Don't feel like you need to do that. Reverse your circles. Yeah, full expression, extending that leg up and away. Now, rotating the pelvis back. We're going to see if we can come up where we came from. Oh, yes. Retracing our steps. Incredibly humbling. Lifting the arms up. Now we'll reverse the clasp of the fingers underneath that standing leg. Fully express. And then we'll slowly come down. Opening the legs up. I'm going to bend at the knees. Creating some very large hip circles. Just noticing how one side might feel a little different from the other. Just dropping into that awareness. And we'll start to find our mountain. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Thighs gently rotating in. Buttocks drawing towards the back of the heels. Natural lumbar curve intact. Start to shift the weight into the right leg. Take your interclasp. Place it under the left thigh. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale to extend the leg forward. Find that inner rotation. Front leg. The left toes, it's like you're unlocking a door. Slight pigeon toe. And notice what happens in the standing leg. Do you feel all four corners of the feet make contact? Notice if there's any sense of amnesia in your connection to the bottom of your foot, or if there's a favoritism happening in your weight distribution. See if you can even that out. Roll the shoulders up and down the back. Exhale, extend the arms up. Don't think, just do. We'll slowly start to draw a line. Hover, hover, hover that foot. Keep that inner rotation. Extend the leg behind you. Find your way to airplane or Virabhadrasana 3. Extend through the crown. Lift the quad off the knee of the standing leg, ungripping the toes. Smile. Good, find that balance point. Relax your arms. Slowly, slowly, slowly let them take you down. We'll level the pelvis, bend that standing leg, and try to create some space in that right hip joint. So press into the right heel and lift the pelvis off of your leg. And then exhale, just follow this impulse to rotate the pelvis. Turn your gaze to the left side. Maybe bend that left knee. Creating little circles in the hips. Stay mindful to keep that standing leg working. It's not hyperextend the knee. We'll reverse the circles. Maybe going from small to larger. And fully express. Find our way back to neutral pelvis. Hands set under the shoulders. Put a little micro bend in that standing leg. See if you can find your way back to mirror 3 or airplane. Touching down. Then we're going to extend. Interclasp your fingers in the funny way. Extend the leg out. Balance it there. We'll slowly come down, stepping out your legs. This again. Kind of like an 80s fitness video with the high-cut bodysuits doing these massive hip isolations. Just think of not getting so hung up on any particular form, or if you're doing it right, it's just like pressing into your hips, creating big circles to see if there's any congestion. And then we'll just stand, toes pointing forward. Just note how the legs feel. Good. Open the eyes. Bring our feet a little closer together. We're going to bend back. Raise the fingertips on the floor. Finding our thunderbolt power pose. And drawing the arms up. Reset the weight back into your heels a little bit more if it's shifted forward. And let the heat build. Start to compress the legs together. 2 legs become one. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Now start to pivot the palms towards the sky and lengthen through your ring finger. And with that protraction of the shoulders, see if you can get a deeper breath across the rib cage. Exhale, press into the legs to come up halfway. Pick up one foot, the right foot. Let's reset the right ankle over top of the left thigh. Pressing your hands to heart center. Keep sending the hips back. Remember to smile. Soft smile releases tension. Now we'll see how this feels. Start to rotate the chest towards the left corner. Start to invite the right knee back. Keep leveling the pelvis at the same time. So these actions and counteractions at play here. Good. And then we'll slowly come back to center. Oh my gosh, this is hard. And then come back up and release the feet down. And let's come back to our hip roll. Knees bent, relaxing any tension in the neck. Resetting the feet. Inhale, bend. Exhale to straighten halfway. Inhale to pick up that leg. Exhale to set back. Setting the hips back. Find your lumbar curve if it's disappearing on you. So we'll try to create this anterior tilt of the pelvis. Lengthen through the fingertips, palms directing up and reaching out. Palms find their way back to each other, allowing the shoulder heads some feedback in order to roll open. Exhale, start to take the right, so the navel underneath the right ribs, pivoting to the right, challenging the balance. Noticing how one side might be very different from the other. This is a very big challenge for me today. Draw that left knee back. Leveling the pelvis as best we can. Yes. Exhale, release. And reset the legs. Stepping them wide apart, toes pointing out, dropping into goddess pose. I'm going to take the right arm underneath the left, puzzling the arms here. Inhale, lift the elbows up. Good. Exhale, dropping your right knee to your right shoulder. The arms press to the left. Create a small, active pulsation of the legs, building some heat here. Good. Switch sides. Let's lift. Now go down, full expression. Come up, 3, 2, 1. Release the toes forward, open the arms up. If your clasp your fingers behind you. Inhale, roll the shoulders up and back, gaze up. Exhale, just kick the heels out a little wider than the toes. Slowly come into a forward bend. Nice standing forward bend. Now our tendency is to throw those arms up and overhead instead. Glue the arms to your back. Reach the knuckles. Up in line with your spine. Now draw your gaze to your navel. Start to rotate the feet out. So heels pressing out, big toes dragging in. Micro bend the knees. Inhale, lift the chin, reach the knuckles back to lift you up. And then we'll reverse the toes. Inhale, breathing the arms up. Exhale, left arm crosses under right, twizzle the arms. Inhale to lift the elbows. Exhale to drop the knees. Hold the arms over to the right side as we drop the left ear to the left shoulder, creating our little pulses. Just noticing how we're connecting with the floor right now. Where's our dominancy and our attention and our weight? See if you can level it out, especially in the outer foot region. Pressing into the outer left heel. If you find yourself rolling in a little bit. Switching sides. And a full expression all the way to your edge. Slowly come up as you draw your knees back. Releasing arms out. We'll reverse the clasp of the arms. Let's kick those heels out a little bit wider than the feet. Lift your inner arches. Inhale, roll the shoulders up and back. Open the throat. Exhale, glue your forearms to your low back. Reach the knuckles. It's off of the pelvic area. So that's the extension of your tailbone. Start the descent. Micro bend in the knees is always helpful. Use that sticky mat to create a sense of traction as you rotate the femur heads inward. Toes are moving inward, the heels are pressing outward. On your next inhale, lift the chin. Exhale, reach the knuckles back to lift you up. Floating the arms up. I'm gonna tick-tock the feet, right foot out, and then heel toe the left foot back, coming into a Vera 2 stance. From here, we'll press the arms down as the right knee stacks over top of the right ankle. And keep a sense of buoyancy in your movements. Nothing is ever fully stagnant or static. Just even, and make that bounce almost indetectable to the eye. And now as we extend through the arms, shoulders facing the long edge of the mat, then turn the head past the third finger of the front hand. Lengthen equally on both the right and left side of the neck. Exhale, straighten the front leg. Start to lift the right frontal hip bone back. Tracking until we can't move anymore. And then pivot the hands into whatever form of triangle you find yourself in. You can place your hand on the shin or on a block or on the floor if you have a really long set of arms or very, very open hamstrings and adductors. Keep pressing, activating through the mat. Good, now we're gonna rotate ourselves over that front foot, heel toe the right foot out, heel toe the left foot in, and then actually pick it up and make it wider so that there's like a blocks with distance between our legs. Now you can walk your hands up your shin to get this added length in your low back. And then work here, trying to create this relationship between lengthening the belly button over the top of the right thigh. And then once you hit your limit there, just relax your head down. Just inviting that right hip crease back as you down through the right big toe. Soften something. Well, inhale, halfway lift up. Put the left hand underneath the left shoulder. And exhale, let's take that navel around underneath the right rib cage, opening up. So revolved. Parsvasanasana. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, let's revolve back. Sit that leg down. Let's check in on our half split now. Slowly back up. Press into down dog. Vinyasa or rest in child's pose. Today our vinyasa is this swimming legs as we turn the head from side to side, inviting the elbows back and together. Exhale. And finding our way back to down dog. And let's take that right leg up, stepping it forward. We're going to find our way to the other side. So left toes open, heel toe the right back, bending that left knee over the right left ankle. Let's find our way up. Vera 2, express across the chest. This guy opening up. And then we turn the head, keeping the chest expansive towards the long side of the mat. Finding the edge of this pose. This is a tricky one. It can be extremely challenging or quite easy and restful, depending on where we like to work. Just consider where your habit is of working in this pose. You like to go to the comfortable zone where I can be in it forever? Or do I maybe just always push a little bit too far, or this is just unsustainable and unenjoyable enjoyable. And see if you can find that delicate balance between ease and effort. And then as that heat builds, let's release it by straightening that front leg. Yes. Sending the hip back. It's helpful to rock just to see if there's any congestion there. Once you get kind of a smooth track, send that left hip crease back, lift the left frontal hip bone up towards the sky. Now you're in triangle here. Rounding through the legs, lengthening through the spine, opening the arms, and then just float that hand for any sort of, just a little bit of stability. It's not a crunch. You're holding yourself up. See what it's like when you hug your legs together. When you firm up that top thigh, you roll the skin out. Remember that sense of buoyancy. We're never stuck or static. There's this gentle undulation of breath and movement always happening, even though it's undetectable to the eye. Keep exploring. And then exhale, rotate up and over that front leg. See how that feels. Heel toe the left leg out nice and wide. Heel toe the right leg in. Keep it at 45 and then just swing it out. Step it closer to the outer edge of your mat. Just give your pelvis some room here. Start to rock it back and forth. Let's investigate. Where is the congestion? I'm going to find you. I'm going to open you up and free you up. Start to redirect the left hip crease back. Inhale, lengthen the spine. You can put a bend in that front leg just to get length in your low back. And then exhale, lengthen the belly, flush over the top of the left leg. Then you can send the femur back. Just to the point where it can handle. Relax your head down. Wherever you are. Shake it yes and no. Release any tension. Our legs are really working here. Just hugging them together. Pressing that right heel outward. Right big toe inward. Lift your inner arm to that back foot. Now we'll place the right hand underneath the right shoulder. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, start to rotate. Open it up. Think of that navel descending and hooking under your left ribs. Think of the shoulder girdle lengthening and almost trying to rotate back towards the front of the mat. And you'll create a sense of rinsing through your abdomen. That feels really nice. Breath, full expression. Exhale. Place both hands at the top of the mat. Bend the back leg. Coming into another half Panamanasana. You're just sending the hip back. Just checking in with that left hamstring after all of that effort. Good. Planting the hands at the top of the mat, step back, finding our flow, or option to take rest in child's pose. Always, always, always. Let's meet there actually. Set your hips over your heels. We're going to take the knees together and the belly relaxes over the legs and take your arms behind you. Rest your forehead down. Just settling the weight of your head down. Notice the breath slowly starting to recalibrate. So on your next inhale, you'll slowly roll up to a seat. You're going to crisscross the legs and to sit back, lie down. Sitting up for a bridge, just open up that back line here. So you can set your feet so that the about the middle finger can graze the back. And that's only if you don't feel any pinching. But just listen to what distance feels like you have liberty and freedom within your pelvic girdle. And then from here, we're going to see if we can parallel the foot as best we can. So the outer edge of the foot is in line with the long edge of the mat. And now really the thrusters of this pose are going to be our feet pressing into the floor, lifting the pelvis up. And we're going to do that on an inhalation. So let's try that together. Place your forearms by your side, palms facing towards your face. Inhale, grounding through your heels, lift. Now check in here before you go into your full expression. What's happening in your neck? You want to try to keep the cervical spine intact. So try not to draw your chin to your chest and flatten your neck curve, but put a gentle pressure on the back of your head to keep integrity there. And then just start to play here. Maybe press into the left leg, press into the right leg, and then just kind of oscillate the hips from side to side. We're sticking with that 80s fitness video inspiration. Good. Interclasp your fingers behind you. Think Patrick Swayze, think John Travolta here. The heart is lifting towards the jaw. Invite the buttocks down towards your knees. Now we've changed orientation. What the heck does that mean? Let that sink in as you press into your left heel, press into your right heel. For 5, 4, press your triceps down into the mat. Maybe you get a little bit more height. Squeeze the glutes, side to side. And now press into both feet equally, full expression. And then exhale. Slowly come down to the top of the spine, all the way down to the floor. Nice. Slowly draw your knees into your chest, give yourself a squeeze. And lick your lips and rub them together. Maybe swallow. And from here, we're going to cross the right leg over the left. See how that feels. Inhale. See if you can lift for either your outer shins, or if you want to grab for your outer heels, flex your feet, create stability in the ankle. So don't extend the ligaments by sickling the foot, but keep them in balance, neutral. And then exhale, we'll gently invite them down, the heels towards the buttocks, as we lengthen across the shoulder girdle, trying to create a nice broad base for ourselves. Inhale to soften something. Exhale to then let's start to press the heels or shins into the hands, hands into the shins. Holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and soften. Come into the full expression, just passively. Let the hands direct the legs to the floor. Legs are passive. Good. And switching sides, extend the legs up for a pause. Left crosses over the right. Inhale, find your grip wherever it feels like you have that range of motion to be able to lie back down. Here we work passively for a few breaths. Never underestimate the power of a smile. Soften, broaden the eye. Okay, next 5 breaths. Let's have a little traction party. So press the heels into the hands, hands into the heels. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now completely soften the legs. Let the hands win. Good, and then we'll slowly release. Soles of the feet together. Place one hand on your belly, one on your heart. Place our arms by our side for a minute, just placing the legs in constructive rest. And take a little minute for a twist. So the right leg comes up over the left, heel toe the left foot over to the right side of the mat. Inhale, lift the pelvis, set the hips off to the right as the knees gently rotate to the left. Take the right arm out, palm facing down. The left hand can place itself on the left hip or comfortably on the belly of the left thigh, just totally passive. And then you can gently shift your gaze past your right fingertips if they're not already there. We'll change the position of the hand from palm down to palm up in a half cactus. Send the breath to the parts that feel a little bit restricted. And move the fascia, working with the breath as we find those places of congestion and then uncrossing the legs, switching sides. The left leg over the right, heel toe the right foot over to the left side of the mat. Exhale to press the hips up and over to the left. Allow the knees to gently rotate to the right. Open up into that half T. This time the left arm extends, left palm down, and then gazing past your left fingertips. You can let the eyes close or keep them just very comfortably set on a drishti, a focal point, with a soft gaze. And on your next exhalation, just draw the arm into a half cactus. Just notice how that changes, what you might be experiencing. Last breath, really focus your attention on breathing into the rib cage and the parts that feels restricted. Send the breath there, press into it. And then on your next exhalation, completely soften, go passive. I'll slowly start to turn hips back to neutral, uncrossing the legs. Taking any finishing pose you might need. Happy baby. Knees into the chest. Go into a shoulder stand or flat pose. And then we'll finally finish with maybe our favorite, Shavasana. So taking the legs out nice and wide. Again, heels are set wider than your hips, but not outside of the mat. But, it's like Goldilocks. It's that moderation ideal. Drawing the shoulder blades down the back, almost facing out. Slowly begin to lift your lips, rub them together. Swallow. Maybe gently brush your skin with your hands. Just waking up sensations. Wiggling the toes. And slowly find our way to our right side. Taking your right arm over your head just to create a little pillow. Deepening your inhale. Let's try a psychological sigh. So breathe in through the nose, double inhale, exhale through the mouth or nose. One more, inhale, double inhale, exhale. And we start to press into the top hand, slowly come up, blinking our eyes, just moving slowly. Notice what our tendency is to pop right up and feel like we need to rush or to move in such slow motion. It's again our Goldilocks principle, finding that medium to keep the nervous system quiet. Just take a moment to notice any shift since the beginning of practice. And bow forward to seal. Namaste. The trick of it is when we get off of our mats, we do it hands-free, right?